Never carry another man's grudge. I love that. I love it because too many times we do. And I remember early on, there were some things I didn't like going on, and I just immediately jumped in support of people. And I'm a loyal guy that way. The problem was that I didn't really take the time to see what was really going on, take a step back to see what people were actually saying. And, I might have thrown my support in areas where I found out later that I'm supporting something that actually wasn't true. So now I'm like, that soured me in a lot of ways. He's like, why am I sticking my neck out for people if I'm not even being told the truth, if I'm being lied to in a way? And then I'm just putting myself out there for risk of everything that I'm doing. I guess it doesn't matter because once I became a king, I lost a lot of support anyway. So the risk is out there regardless. And this is never carry another man's grudge. This is now it's who you associate with, who you stream with, who you talk to will put you in hot water with somebody. And so at that point, I'm just like, just do what you do. I'm just doing what I do. Whoever supports me can support me. If they don't choose to, they don't choose to, and that's fine. But I can't take on somebody else's burden anymore. And I won't. I've been over that for a while. And I support people. I try to uplift people as much as possible as I can because that's just the personality that I am. But I'm no longer carrying another man's grudge. All right, Heidi said, this is true. I mean, to Patrick all the time. It's okay, though. He likes it. High school crap. It really does kind of become that, right? And you can tell... you can tell there are people out there that just want to carry this on because, like I said, it was dead. It was dead. Dungeoneers weren't being talked about. That was gone. Like I said, maybe every once in a while you got a little bit of lighthearted people making fun of people just for history of it. But this wasn't being talked about. It wasn't being actively streamed on or anything. It was done. People were moving on with their own stuff, doing their own thing, and this brought it right back up. And anybody that was involved that wanted to go on there as like spearheading it and being the voice of it didn't need to. Do your own thing. Why linger on a situation that happened 3 years ago that has no bearing on today whatsoever? Where's the dang candle emoji? They don't have one? There's way more than that, though, Joe. Stuff we better not talk about on the show. I'm not going to talk about certain things that I may know or may not know. But there's, again, the whole point is stepping back for a second and being like, is that worth it? Is being so offended by words and stuff, and is that worth it? Is being made fun of worth holding on to this grudge? I don't know. I've seen some evidence of people that rightfully should be upset about some of the things that they discovered, and maybe that's why they led to certain things. I've had discussions with other people from other perspectives. Again, if you had a documentary that actually told the truth, you can make that out for yourself. I've had a chance to talk to people on different sides that have given their stories. And you know what? I think a lot of this stuff could be squashed if somebody just dropped it and said, you know what? I'm sorry. Let's shake hands. Let's move on. Let's be better. I think it could be fixed. I don't think anything that's happened has been too far gone that we can't get back from. Maybe some people. I think some people probably are lost causes. And there's only so much you can do against another person before you just write them out of your life. And it happens. Sometimes it has to happen. But a lot of times you can have misunderstandings. You can get in fights. You can get in physical fights. And you know what? You can make up later and figure shit out. Like, man, the question is, do you want to? There seems to be a segment of bitter people out there that don't want to get over it. That would rather dig up new or old information and now championing this is the cause. Let's get back out there, guys. Let's start the fight again. I don't know if you were on the winning side the first time. Jeremy says, yeah, for too many guys upset about slights that aren't or never were directed towards them. That's probably true. You probably have a handful of people that really have the issues that can work out themselves. And then you got a bunch of other people that just latch on because there's this loyalty or whatever you want to say. Which, fine, whatever. But when you break it down, it's probably just maybe less than 10 people. They could probably work it out with themselves without everybody else jumping on and carrying that grudge for them. Richard Brinkley says, I watched the Dungeoneer shit that was over a Nothing Burgers. I'm sure if you were involved, you would probably have a different feeling about it. But not being involved in anything there, I have my perspective. And my perspective is like, yes, I'm sure things happen. Feelings got hurt. There was back talking. There's backstabbing. And a lot of that stuff could probably be corrected with time, you know. And who knows? There was enough time in place. It's 3 years. It died down. Maybe there was enough time. Ethan has said before, too. I mean, he would have loved to have some of these people back. Maybe some of them, no. Some of them, yeah. And there's always that open door for reconciliation, which I think would benefit everybody. You have War Campaign backers in your chat right now. I have War Campaign backers in my chat right now. I don't know what that means. You mean the War Campaign, they back the book? Listen, I have an issue with War Campaign. I don't think they serve any purpose. I fought with them before there was a fracture in CG, and I fought with them after there was a fracture in CG. I got no love lost in my heart for them. I got no time for them. If they did back the book, cool. I'm glad they backed the book and they supported with that $25 or whatever that first time around. But if there is somebody that claims to be War Campaign and you're backing me or supporting me, and you see what I go through with some of those people, and you want to defend that, I got a problem with that. So maybe keep that to yourselves. All this unwanted roasting, beefing. I know, right? It's all, it goes back to roast beefing. Good times. Hazelnuts? Name for starter is hazelnuts. I don't know the dude, so I'm not going to sit here and insult him, which I don't do. I don't insult people that I don't know or don't have interactions with. But from somebody that just watched the documentary and also see how it affects certain people. This is another thing, and I'm not going to go into detail here. But you got to know that there are people that these people are associated with, and that their direct actions are going to affect them because they are associated with them. People that don't want to have any kind of drama or whatever, and they just want to make books, are now going to be affected because this is all getting drummed back up. Now these names are getting back out there. So there are going to be pushback because it's just, that's what we do here. We like to fight. We fight each other. Other people are going to get caught in the crosshairs because of this. And I don't think people are thinking about that. When you're going on and being the spokesperson of this documentary, you're probably not thinking of the people that you might work with, where the blowback is going to possibly get them as well. You know? Joe, a perfect I don't give a fuck clip to have for this crap is Stifler from American Wedding when the stripper was droning on and he was like, I don't care. Perfect for Crybaby BS LOL. There you go. Lazy Doormat should learn basic editing skills before making documentaries. The videos are 3 times longer than they need to be. Yeah, you could have whittled that down to 2 hours max. 2 hours max would probably be fine. Maybe an hour and a half. And just got more to the point. There's a lot of stuff in there that didn't need to be in there. Yeah, if it had a proper editor, it probably could have been a better documentary. Some of the music was odd choices too. I don't know. I would have probably done a documentary a lot different. Jay Ryan says a lot of the outsiders just want to watch it burn. They have no problem fueling the drama because they have nothing to lose. They create nothing, stand for nothing, and people lap it up. That's a great point. Kind of reminds me of the Summer of Love 2020 riots after George Floyd. There was a lot of people that were just coming in to create havoc, sake, to loot, to vandalize, just because they took the opportunity. They didn't care about the cause. They were just there to burn it all to the ground. Absolutely, we got people like that in this space that don't care. They're just fueling the tensions. I know very well from talking to people from the know, from people that talk all around. I got ears. I got a lot of people, guys I talk to that they're in various places. I keep all that stuff to myself. I'm not here to call out names and whatever. But I know for a fact there are people that are being manipulated into jumping back into this drama when it doesn't serve them. So maybe they need to be a little bit smarter. If you truly want to go on and be your own self, leave the stuff behind like you say you do, you wouldn't be involved in this at all. The last Matt would have come calling you and been like, no, I don't want anything to do with it. And not only that, I'm going to go online. I'm going to let everybody know that I don't want anything to do with it. CG on CG violence is destroying these streets. We own these streets. Joe will never go into the dirty dungeon with you guys. You know what's funny about that? If I was there, if I was there, I have no idea. I might have been caught up in that just because the life that I have lived it's funny. Like, I find that kind of stuff funny. Now, like, the whole Dungeoneers thing, I really do think it started as a joke that was taken the wrong way. Call me crazy, but I do believe that's what it was, and certain people can handle the joke. My perspective, you can have a different view if you want. But this is a place where people's balls get busted all the time. And you go to a place like that, and you just got to own it. You got to own it. If you're like, okay, yeah, I went to a sex club, I mean, I didn't jerk anybody off, I didn't get pegged or anything, but haha, it's funny, we'll make fun of me. Be the butt of your own joke. Take that on, embrace the joke that it was, instead of being offended. Now, I know there's a lot of other things that happen, a lot of things behind the scenes, and you can hear other people talk about it and know way more than I do. But sitting back from a person that's just observing all this stuff, I can see missteps where they happened and where things could have changed if someone had just reacted a little bit different or maybe approached things differently. One thing I can really suggest, guys, is stay out of the DM groups if you think you were going to be going in there and anything that can be used against you. I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't use DM groups to plot against anybody if those DMs are going to be leaked. It's just not. It's not the smart thing to do. But again, the whole dungeon thing, I don't care about it all. I honestly think that some of that shit was funny. If I was there, I probably would have been laughing at. I mean, during the band days, man, there were a lot of places we ended up after shows that probably made that place look very tame. Although it wasn't the gay stuff. Take the gay stuff out. Like, that could be the different, like the gay dungeon or the gay nightclub. I see what people are saying about it, but as far as the act of just going there and partying, I did so many things in my youth partying that could be brought up against me. Who knows? Wait till the Four Kings turn on you, and then you'll change your mind. I'm not worried about it, Rick. And you know that. I have no worries that they're going to turn. They've been nothing but good to me since I joined. I've known John for a long time. I've gotten to know some of the other guys as well, and really nobody's going to turn on anybody unless you give them a reason to turn. This is a fact. If you and I are hanging out, and we're always constantly hanging out, there's nothing that's going to keep us from hanging out unless I did something to you that makes you question why you're hanging out with me. You're not just going to wake up one day and be like, oh, I think I'm going to fuck this guy over for whatever reason. No, it's got to come from a source. Like, somebody's got to say something or do something that over a period of time is going to rub the other person the wrong way, and eventually you cut ties. Managing expectations. Creed says there's only one king. That is true. There is only one king, and that is Jesus Christ. So you feeling drama that hasn't even happened? Classic. Well, it's just drama happened and it was done. And now it's just like, let's stoke it back up again. Like, the fire was going out, and for some reason people wanted to throw gasoline on it and get it ignited again. And it's going to happen. What's going to happen is over the next few weeks, the responses are going to come, and then those responses are going to be EFAP'd, and then it's going to be back and forth, and people are going to be in the chats, on comments on X, just going at it again, and all for no reason. Can anybody give me a logical reason on why this documentary had to be made, knowing that all you're doing is just kicking the hornet's nest again? It just settled down. The hornets had just settled down for a nice winter nap, and you just go up and like, you know what, let's see what happens. I'll kick it again, and now it's out there. I don't know, maybe people like that. Maybe there are people that do thrive off of the drama. They thrive off the rage bait. So I guess it is what it is. Just navigate it the best you can, But I'm just here to tell you that it didn't have to happen. And people that made the, if you're wondering why there's an issue right now, point back to the documentary. Anybody who says Dungeoneers are dumb with no knowledge of old CG. Spell deck broke. Sounds like a Misery Loves Company situation. Dingy dungeons. I like the CG slums. I actually have no problem with anybody, even though I don't think I've really hung out. Was it Slums Dark Gift? Right. I like Dark Gift. I've been on his show a couple times. It's always been cool to me. And that's the thing. Anybody's cool with me, I'm cool with. You know? Even if they say bad things about other people or they fight or all this kind of stuff, it has nothing to do with me. I can still be cool with you if you're cool with me. Trust me. It's life, man. I have friends that fall out with each other and hate each other. You know? And I'm just like, what do you want me to do about it? You know? You're like, oh, that person he said this about me or did this. Like, that's between you two. You guys figure it out. Don is great. I was a mod in over 20 CG channels at one point. I watched every single channel, and I watched all this happen in real time. No, I get it. You got a different perspective, Rick. And I respect that. I respect that. But I'm not here to argue who's at fault. And I think that's the problem, is people get caught up with the who's at fault, pointing fingers. When I think if you logically look at everything, you can't honestly sit here and say that there is one side that's completely innocent over the other. That's just very naive if that's the case. And that's the reality of it. They left CG on their own and we're not forced out. And I don't think anybody got kicked out of CG. Maybe PTP, but I don't know. Again, that's shit that I wasn't paying attention to. All this stuff is stuff that I didn't really pay attention to. Because it had nothing to do with me. So, you know, again, I expect people to be able to deal with their own stuff without dragging other people in. And I started to get dragged into certain things. And it's like, okay, if I defend somebody on something because I don't like something that's happening but to somebody I like, but I don't see those people actively trying to avoid stuff, then it's like, why am I putting my neck out in this situation that's bringing heat on me if you're not doing anything to separate yourself from the drama? And at that point, I'm just like, I'm pulling out altogether. The people that know me, you know, I still support you guys. I'm out there. I'm not talking shit about anybody, and I won't. Because I don't need to. I don't have any reason to. But there's a lot of people that try to put me on one side or the other, or pull me to a side, or say because I do this, then, you know, I have to support this, or, you know, you can't support this anymore, or can you do this, or why are you doing this? And I'm like, guys, it has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with you. Most of the people that message me has nothing to do with them either. They're not involved in it. They're just getting swept up with other people's drama. And I don't care about other people's drama. I would love to see people handle their drama and let's get back to being strong again. But if that never happens, it never happens. It is what it is. I can't control people. But just know, people fall out with people and get back together all the time in life. All the time. There was a friend I had that we had a falling out and didn't speak to each other for 4 years. And one day we just dropped it all. There was a phone call, boom, figured it all out. We're friends again. You know, that shit can happen. I've been around before CG was even a thing, and Ethan was still a quiet talker doing art supplies. Yeah, that's a long time, man. That was a long time. All right, what's going on here? I didn't see anything on the documentary that wasn't true. Just saying people can believe what they want. Facts are facts. I would disagree with that. And I don't want to get into it here, but I saw some things that were definitely manipulated in how they were presented. And again, like I said, Rick, I've seen some things. I've talked to people on the other side, and I've seen some stuff that drastically changed my mind about things. So unless you have the evidence of everybody involved, then it's hard to say that you're not just taking one side and believing it because that's the way it is. And do what you want to do. People tend to be on whatever side that their friends are, the people they hang out with the most, and that's fine. People, you know, do you. But I try to step back and just look at things. It is the most logical thing I can look at. Where's the evidence? What actually happened? Who said what? And then I have to actually judge that. Is this really that big of a deal? And do I care? You know, like that's the biggest thing. Like, is this really that big of a deal? What people are making it out to be? And is it something that involves me? And do I care? You know, that's where you really have to look at. And maybe it is a big deal to people. You know, that's on you guys. I like Joe, even if you are a regal bagel now. I don't know what that means. Found CG through Anna and the Jack Show in 2017. Oh man, so you've been around for a while. Nice. Yeah. EVS and Shane say shit almost every day about the dungeons. Bleh, Dungeoneers. Dungeons? Is that what I don't know, what are we calling them now? So what? If I have a beef with somebody, regardless if I'm in the right or the wrong, so I can try to just give a good picture of this, and I have a beef with a friend of mine or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't want anything to do with this person anymore for whatever reason, there might be times when the subject comes up that I make fun of that person just because. So what? I guess it was words, man. I talk about it all the time on here. Words can't hurt you, and they shouldn't. Somebody says something mean about how many mean things people say about me and to me, the things I hear from other sources of people saying, oh, I heard somebody say this about you, or I see it right in a fucking comment from War Campaign. I don't know. Shit doesn't bother me. PTP, definitely a lost cause. I mean, if he is, he is. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the guy. I've been on his show once back in the day. I have no ill will towards anybody. It's just me kind of giving my opinion on this entire thing, which again, the only thing you can look at here is everybody is sitting here digging up a side again and bringing up old ancient history at this point. This was done. Then Dungeoneers was done. People were moving on. Yeah, sure, jokes are being made at people's expenses, but when you have a history, when you go through a fight, you got to expect that. And so for this to be dug back up, all you're doing is opening up an old wound again, and there's no reason for it. Anybody give me a good reason out there of why this is a beneficial thing for anybody. Take your bias out, take your side out, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just looking at this logically. There's no good that's going to come out of this. You know? Most people probably didn't want to talk about this anymore. And now you're being forced to talk about it because that's what we do. This will be the only time I talk about it, and I'll talk about it again after this. With Joe, without drama, what are we supposed to do? Enjoy our hobby and be productive? I miss Kelsey. I like Kelsey. Kelsey was good. I had him on the show once. It was a fun dude, funny guy. We looked at Mark Teixeira's Sabretooth. I'm appreciating Comic Book Art Live. I like all these guys. There's few people I dislike in this world. I'm not going to tell you who they are. There are very few people I actually dislike in this world. And if I dislike you, it's probably for a very, very good reason. Because I'm a very forgiving guy. I've had many fights with people on Twitter. And, you know, we can move on. Then maybe they DM me and say, hey, my bad, bro. And I'm like, no worries, man. It got heated. We're moving on. It's all good. I'm forgiving like that. It's all good. They're useless twats. That's a lot of people, though. What's most people? I'll just say it. All the hate in CG is all over EVS Shane Malin. They can say and do whatever they want. It's fine if anyone says anything. You're out, and that's the facts. I don't know if that's necessarily true, Rick. And granted, you can say whatever you want to say about me, but I have a different perspective from the position I'm at. And I've seen things. I've seen things that are different. You know, it's changed my perspective to a point where it's just like, I look at this as a lot of high school stuff. And if you are going to push somebody and they push back, you can't really cry about that. You know, if this documentary is going to drum up smoke again for people, can't really complain about it. Because you had an opportunity not to do it. You had an opportunity not to do this when the history of it was dying down. And that's just the truth. It really is. People are off doing their own thing. People are doing their own thing, doing it well. So all this is just going to put a target on people's backs again. And then somebody's going to claim victim when you didn't even have to have the documentary in the first place. For something that a lot of people, the majority of people, probably don't even care about anymore. Yeah, I don't know too much about that, but yeah, I think you're. But again, I got different perspectives because of different different things I hear, which I keep to myself. People back books and act like you owe them for backing a book. All you owe them is a book that they selfishly bought, either to get a book or feel better about themselves. Backing is weird. Yeah, I have had some people think that they essentially own me because they backed a book. So that means they police everything that I say. So if I say something they don't like on social media, the first thing they're like, well, I backed your book, so I don't know if I want to, support you anymore. I'm like, what the hell does this have to do with fucking, politics or whatever we're talking about? So it is a tool that people can hold over your head. I've said before, like, I appreciate all my backers, even the people that might not support me anymore because of the people I hang out with. But I still support anybody that comes and spends money on my books. You guys are all good in my mind. Almost everything we've all just talked about has nothing to do with why lower CG is gone. Yeah, but Rick, you're trying to dig up details that I don't care anything about. I'm looking at the overall picture here. I'm not pointing people who are in the wrong. I'm not saying this person's in the wrong, this person's in the wrong. I'm stating an absolute fact here that cannot be argued, that the Dungeoneer situation was died down. It was moving on. People were moving on all sides until this documentary. This documentary is just bringing everything back up again and just putting everybody back to 2023 again. That's all it is doing. And somebody's doing that for a purpose, and it seems like a very orchestrated attack when it didn't need to be. And this is not going to benefit anybody. So you can argue who's right, who's wrong, what happened, what's a lie, what's the truth, who you should believe, what side you should be on. None of that matters. What matters is that was almost done. That people could have probably moved on, started a new chapter in their life, and we could have been away from the Dungeoneer drama and nonsense, and now it's back. That's the fact. You can't say that that's not what's happening. So we can sit back here and debate all night long on I saw this, you saw that, we read this, blah, blah, blah. This person's right, this person's wrong. None of that matters because that's old news. Nothing is new. Nothing is new in this situation. It's all old news that has been drummed up for a reason, and that reason is to continue to divide. And I've said this before, like, I do believe that there's a vocal minority of people out there that keeps this stuff alive and just wants to rage and just burn everything to the ground. And I know a ton of people, because I talk to them, that still support multiple people. And they're like, I like these people. I also like these people. It sucks that they're fighting, but I like the stuff that they're doing, so we're still going to back. They're just quiet about it because they know if they go on and show support, like I joined CG Kings, that's showing support to the Kings, apparently, and now all of a sudden I get attacked by people that never attacked me before. Nobody ever had a bad thing to say about me until I joined the Kings, and then all of a sudden now War Campaign comes in, and everybody that's disenfranchised with CG or has a problem with Ethan or Malin, now I'm on that list. So I have a different perspective when it comes to that stuff. And I have a lower patience when it comes to that as well. Because I feel like I'm pretty good at coming on here and telling you guys who I am, how I think about things. And my actions speak louder than my words. I don't attack anybody. I'm cool with everybody. But I inherited things because of the people I associate with. You tell me how that's fair and how that works. And I'll say, I don't care. We're moving on. It's just like, I get told like, oh, it just happens. Why? Because you're so dug into a side, tribalistic, that my one move would go into the Kings is all of a sudden going to erase everything you know about me as a person. And now it makes me in some kind of category now. Now I'm open game. And I don't see anybody. This is the funny thing too. Going off on a little tangent here. I've defended many people over the years, to the point where I was fighting people within CG as well and getting shit on because I would say something about the people I associated with. I don't like certain things being said. I've done a lot of offending people over the years. I don't see anybody coming in and having my back when I'm fighting with a war campaign or being attacked by multiple bot counts. I'm pretty sure like they're just 2 people probably. I don't see anybody jumping in and defending me. All my so-called friends out there, when I joined the Kings, seem to all be cool with that now. But yeah, I'm the one that's required to still defend things. I don't know if it works that way. The biggest problem is the creators got too friendly with customers. Once lines blurred, customers and creators wrecked themselves. That could be true to a point. I think it's kind of hard though. I mean, we stream here. Like, you know, you get to know me personally. I come on here and I tell you my personal life, what I do, family wise, and all that kind of stuff. I see you guys in the chat. I see certain things that you guys say as well. Like, you know, we get to know each other on the surface level. It's kind of unavoidable, like how we do things. And I think that's also what makes it unique when we have that relationship with the backer. Like, I love the chat. I love that you guys come in here and support the show. I love that you guys come in and support the book. And I'm open. Like I said, people can DM me anytime they got a question about campaigns I'm running, or, you know, when's this book coming out, whatever. By the way, Second Chance campaign, I'm going to be sending out the Isaac Bell covers here pretty soon. The other 3 covers got to go back to print. There's a printing error. But yeah, I'm pretty open as much as I can with everybody, because I respect you guys. I respect the backers. I even respect people that don't agree with what I'm saying here. You don't have to agree with my point of view here. This is just me, my point of view. Not telling you what to think. That's up to you to do. All right? That's up to you. And I just hope that people do in the best non-biased evidence way that they can. Because there's a lot of things happening. It's just politics, man. That is all this is. Look at the narrative out there on social media right now. There's twisted narratives of people that weren't involved with anything that are being sucked into stuff. So yes, if you've seen certain things in actual evidence that puts your opinion the way you have it, then have that by all means. I'm not going to try to change that or say that you're wrong or I'm right or anything, because I'm not even saying that I'm right in any of the situation. This is just me, from somebody that's not involved in it, sitting back and looking at it as a whole and see how this benefits nobody. And all anybody wants to do is like, oh, it's this person did this person. I don't give a fuck. That has nothing to do with anything. That's old news. All this shit, again, is old. It's been talked about to death. What I'm saying is this situation right now with the documentary is not benefiting anybody. I don't see how you can think it is. Keep knives out of people's backs and you'll be fine. Yeah. It's probably good philosophy to live by. John says the outrage at Shane for calling out Tampa being more of a trade show of crafts versus comic conventions was weird. Shane's drunk in the stream didn't help anything though. Yeah, I have no idea on that, and I didn't watch it. It wasn't something I was paying attention to at the time. So again, like, these are things that you can bring up, and people can bring up all this stuff, timestamps, this happened, blah blah blah. And I get people want to talk about it. It's a popular subject, right? Anything that's popular or intriguing, people are just going to want to talk about it again now that it's back. But none of it's new. No new information is going to be coming out that hasn't been presented already, I don't believe. So I don't know. All right, so I wasn't trying to be divisive with that, but it is a touchy subject. I wanted to give an opinion on it. Not who's right, not who's wrong, not that I care about details, but the fact that it's stuff that didn't need to be brought up, and now it's here. So now we all have to deal with it. And it didn't need to be. You know, and it could have been avoided. Sometimes just maybe thinking a little bit before you do something, how is that going to affect other people, could go a long ways, instead of just kicking that hornet's nest wide open again. Yeah. You know, and honestly, guys, you can still like whoever you want to like. Who was it said don't carry another man's grudge? Whoever said that, genius. I would say that's a good advice. Don't carry another man's grudge. You can have your opinions. I got my opinions. People in the chat know my opinions, and my opinions have changed in some ways over time. But one thing I won't do is carry another man's grudge. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you all. Go back, books. Be good to each other. Take care of one another. And as always, picture me naked. Talk to y'all later. Peace.